Hello everyone, and welcome to my presentation about engineered landfills. Since we're talking about landfills, some of you may be wondering how much waste exactly does the world generate each year? Well, it turns out it's about 2.3 billion tons of municipal solid waste that's generated each year. This is simply too much waste to have flying around. It can pollute the natural environment and it can pollute our drinking water. We use landfills to contain our solid waste to prevent it from getting into our drinking water or into the environment. What you may not know though about landfills is that they are carefully engineered to maintain those pollutants and to contain them so that they are not traveling into our drinking water or into the surrounding area. However, though, before a landfill even begins construction, there is a lot of careful deliberation about where the location will be for the landfill. Some of the factors that need to be considered include being close enough to the people who generate waste so that there is not a long distance for it to be transported, but also being far enough away from living spaces and from drinking water so that it doesn't contaminate drinking water, but also so it doesn't interfere with people's way of life. After the location has been chosen, construction begins, and the main purpose for these engineering design features that we see in the diagram here is to help keep harsh chemicals called leachates from contaminating the soil and the groundwater around the landfill. So the way that engineers design and plan to do this is through several layers which are built up within the landfill. And the first layer that we talk about is a layer of dense compacted clay at the very bottom of the trench or the pit where the landfill is dug. And on top of that, a layer of high density plastic, HDPE plastic, it gives an extra layer of security to prevent any of these liquid leachates from penetrating through into the soil and into the groundwater. Now I'll draw your attention to one detail on this diagram. You'll notice there that it tapers down to a point at the bottom. We call this point the sump, and it's an important feature of the landfill because we want all of these liquid leachates, all these pollutants to drain into one spot so that afterwards we can pump them out and all of the leachates can be stored in a containing unit. So after that initial construction is done, we can start using the landfill and it'll fill up until it reaches capacity. So the third step is to cover the landfill. If we don't cover the landfill, rainwater can penetrate into the solid waste and generate more leachates, which can overfill the landfill, cause all kinds of other problems, and get into the surrounding soil. So again, we use a layer of dense compacted clay, 2 feet of that clay, as well as another layer of high density HDPE plastic. And on top of that, we also need to prevent erosion on top of the landfill. So layers of rocks or even a layer of plants can help to keep the soil in place and intact and prevent erosion. Since sometimes we can use plants, there's sort of a trend going on where parks are built on top of retired landfills, and this is sort of a clever way to use that retired space and make it into something beautiful. Now the last step that we talk about, and I will draw it here on the diagram, we need to have pumps, or not pumps, but pipes inside the landfill which release methane gas, essentially. The gases tend to build up because of chemical reactions in the solid waste, and it's important that we release it to prevent any explosive release of that gas. It can be dangerous and harmful. The clever thing here is that we can actually burn the methane gas that is released from this solid waste over time, and that can be used for energy. So it has a dual purpose there. And again, the leachate, the liquids, they also get pumped out and stored in some kind of container, so we can keep it contained and it's not getting into the groundwater. So this is a sustainable method for containing our solid waste that's been developed over the recent years, but there's always room for improvement. And as we generate more and more waste, we'll begin to run out of space to keep that waste, and it becomes more and more expensive. So we're looking to ways to reduce waste and engineering ways to help reduce waste and keep things, our impact on the environment to a minimum. But in the meantime, we have to make sure, and these landfills are very well engineered to protect our groundwater from the pollutants that can come from solid waste. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation and that you learned something from this, and go learn some more about landfills and try to help out by reducing your waste and looking into sustainable municipal solid waste practices. Thank you for watching my presentation. Bye.